love Toku, and I'm also a big fan of fighting games, so I decided to combine the two and make the ultimate Toku fighting game roster featuring characters from Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, Metal Hero, and a few surprises. These aren't just the best fighters, but characters with interesting abilities that I think would work well. So let's get things started with the Sentai characters. First is Aka Ranger from Go Ranger. We have to have the OG Red Ranger on this roster. He would use Red Spark, his Flying Kick, his Silver Shot Blaster, and his Red Whip. His blaster would give him a lot of range with projectile attacks, and his whip gives him extra reach to start combos from a further distance. Next we have Dragon Ranger from Zhu Ranger, and since he's such a skilled martial artist, I want to give him some high damage combos that can easily devastate an enemy that's lazy about blocking. He also would of course have his Jusoken dagger, which doesn't have a lot of range, but I think that if he gets close enough to hit you with it, it would mess you up good. He would also have some devastating special moves involving the Jusoken. Next we have Big One from Jaka, and he would have a variety of attacks using his baton. This would give him extra reach to start combos. He would also be able to taunt in order to gain a buff to his damage resistance, and a Big Bomber special move where the other rangers from Jaka would rush onto screen and blast his opponent away. Next is Abare Killer from Aba Ranger. He has the ability to ignore damage for a short period, he can attack with his wing pentact, and he also has Abare mode that gives him increased damage for a short time. Abare Killer would easily be one of the strongest regular Sentai characters in the game. Next we have Kiba Ranger from Dai Ranger. He would of course have attacks with Byakko, his sword, allowing him increased combo starting range. He can stun his opponents with the Scattered Echo attack, and he would have a special move where he hops on his skateboard and rides through his opponent in a head-on attack. Next we have King Ranger from O Ranger, who by default would have a lot of health. He also would be able to attack with his King Stick of course, giving him a lot of ranged and comboing potential, and I would give him a special move where he can summon a blast from King Pyramiter from off screen. Next we have Black Condor from Jetman. Given that he has flight capabilities, he would have swooping attacks from the air. He can also attack with his sword, and due to the sheer amount of swagger that he has, I'm giving him a taunt to gain a buff to his damage. Next up is Deca Red from Deca Ranger. He's easily one of the most high-strung and aggressive Red Rangers in history, so I had to have him on my fighting game roster. Due to his proficiency with shooting, he's getting some devastating firearm attacks that can be executed at range. I'm also giving him a special move where he would rage out and be able to ignore damage for a short period of time. He also has a meter that fills up while dealing damage, and whenever it maxes out he can activate SWAT mode, which deals increased damage and gives him more damage resistance. Next up is Time Fire from Time Ranger. He would use different attacks from his DV Defender based on the mode that it was in. This gives him a good mix of ranged attacks plus close range combo potential. He has a parry to negate incoming damage, and he can taunt to trigger health regeneration. Next is Shurikenja from Hurricaneger, who would use his baseball bat for various attacks. He can hit you with it up close, or he can hit you with a ball from a distance. He can also activate Fire mode for increased damage and new combo potential. Next up we have Shinken Red from Shinkenger, one of the best fighters in the franchise. He would have some brutal combos using his Shinken Maru, but unlike a lot of the other Rangers, he doesn't use it as a special move, it's part of his base attacks, giving him increased combo starting range and damage. He would also have a special move where he pulls out the Reka Daizanto, which he can hit his opponent with from nearly full screen. He can also pull out the Kyoryu Maru for an attack where the sword stretches out behind him, off screen, and hits his opponent from behind. He can do this while he's in hyper mode, a form that he can activate after filling up a meter, and this gives him increased damage and damage resistance. Next up we have Goju Polar from Gojuger. He would use polar punches with good burn, and he's capable of freezing opponents at the end of a combo. Like basically if you pull off a 10-hit combo, the last hit would freeze an enemy, allowing for even more follow-up attacks. He can also use polar rings for a random buff. These buffs might be increased damage, damage resistance, or health regeneration. Next we have Gokai Yellow from Gokaiger. Her powers would have to be toned down just a little bit so that she's not overpowered within the game, but she can still summon certain abilities from classic female rangers. She also has high damage sword combos, and she's highly effective at range due to her gun. She's easily one of the most versatile characters on the entire roster. Next we have Ninja White Tsuruhime from Kaku Ranger. Because she's a ninja, she would be extremely agile and quick. She has a ranged special move with her Shuriken, and devastating melee combos with her sword. She also has a special move that allows her to disappear and reappear in another area of the screen, leaning into the whole ninja theme. Next we have Blue Dolphin from Liveman. She's especially strong at range by using her Dolphin Arrow. Although she doesn't have as elaborate of combos as some of the other characters, she can use her bow as a melee weapon up close, giving her slightly more reach when starting combos. Now let's jump over to the Kamen Rider side with Kamen Rider Ichigo. But don't worry Sentai fans, we'll have some Sentai boss characters coming up later on. Kamen Rider Ichigo is the OG Kamen Rider, so of course we have to have him on the roster, especially alongside Akaranger. In addition to his high damage base combos, he also has special move punches that devastate the enemy. He can also close the gap quickly with his Rider Kick, a move with a long animation but tons of damage. He can also taunt to gain temporary damage resistance. Next we have Kamen Rider Amazon, a rider with brutal close range combos. He doesn't have a lot of reach with his combos, but if a good player is playing Amazon and he gets close to you, you're pretty much done. These combos would implement his claws and the razor sharp fins on his gauntlets. He also has leaping special moves to help him close the gap. Amazon is one of the best pure strikers in the game. Next up we have Kamen Rider Black. He has a brutal high damage Rider Kick as a special move, with high damage hand-to-hand combos, and a taunt that triggers health regeneration. He also has a special move where Battle Hopper comes in from off screen and charges through his opponent, inflicting massive amounts of damage. Next up is Kamen Rider Kuga, one of the most versatile characters in the game. He would have access to his different base forms at will, and the weapons they provide, giving him a good mix of melee and projectile attacks. By dealing damage, he can also charge up a meter that allows him to access his ultimate form. And once he reaches this form, it would be very hard to beat him because it gives him increased damage and damage resistance. He can also taunt to trigger health regeneration. Next up we have Kamen Rider Faiz. Due to his speed, he can dash very quickly, allowing him to easily close the gap to start combos, or to back up to give himself some space. He can use the Faiz Edge and Faiz Blaster for a good mix between range and melee. Faiz is a really versatile character, and he really has no weaknesses here except for the fact that he doesn't have a taunt. Next we have Kamen Rider Kabuto, and he's the fastest character in the game. Much like Faiz, he gets increased range with his forward and backward dashes, allowing him to dictate the range of the fight. He has various special moves utilizing his speed, like a long-range forward dash to quickly get in his opponent's face and start a combo, or he can even run backwards off screen and appear behind his opponent. Given the amount of swagger that he has, I gave him a taunt in order for him to gain various buffs. These would be randomized between health regeneration, damage resistance, and outgoing damage. Next up is Kamen Rider Double, an extremely versatile character that can switch to different forms and utilize the abilities that they offer. For example, he can stretch his arm to attack his enemy with Luna, or shoot a gun with Trigger. While he's fighting, Philip works in the background to identify weaknesses with the opponent. This results in a rotating selection of moves that gain increased damage. So basically while you're fighting, in the corner it will tell you a specific move, and if you hit with that move it'll do more damage than usual. He also has his unique Cyclone Joker Rider Kick, which always deals massive damage. Next we have Kamen Rider Oz. He can form switch to gain different abilities, like his Cheetah Claws or his Kamakiri legs for leaping attacks. He can also use his sword for devastating special moves, and I even gave him a special move where the disembodied arm of Ankh flies in from off screen to smack his opponent, because I had to include Ankh somehow. Next up is Kamen Rider Gaim, who has the highest damage resistance among all regular characters. He uses a sword within his base combos, and he's a bit slower than other characters, but he deals tons of damage to compensate. He can also summon his horse from off screen to charge through the opponent. Next up we have Kamen Rider Build. He can taunt for a damage buff, and he has special move attacks with his Drill Crusher. I really wanted to play into his intelligence here, and his knack for just figuring things out in a scientific way, so I've given him the ability to cancel out his opponent's special moves with precise input timing, similar to a parry. So for example, if Shinken Red summoned his Eureka Daizanto, Build would have the opportunity to deflect the attack if he inputs the same button combination as the player playing Shinken Red. This would make him a challenging but very rewarding character to play, and players that got good with him could absolutely dominate. Next we have Kamen Rider Zetz, and I definitely had to include him so that I could have a Zetz versus Gojuger fight, but also because I just love his suit design. Zetz is a good close range fighter, but he can also switch to his different forms in order to gain their effects, like Stream for airborne attacks, or Recovery form to heal himself. Next we have Shadow Moon. He's the highest health regular character in the game, but a little bit slower than the others. He has special moves using the Satan Saber that deal tons of damage, and he can also send out energy attacks from range. He can also taunt to heal himself, making him a very forgiving character. Next we have Nago from Kamen Rider Geats, and because she's an influencer, I gave her a taunt where she pulls out her phone and says hi to chat, because she's streaming during the fight. She also has high damage attacks with her beat guitar. She's quick and elusive, leaning into the whole cat theme. She can quickly attack and dash backwards very effectively, making her hard to hit sometimes. Next we have Kamen Rider Valkyrie from 01. She can use her gun at range, but also quickly close the gap due to her speed. She can also activate her Lightning Hornet form to gain the ability to shoot while flying in the air. While in this form, she can also swoop down and melee you, but while she's in Rushing Cheetah form, she can also quickly rush towards you and start a combo. Next we have the legend herself, Electronic Wave Humanoid Tackle. She has high damage combos, and she can use electronic waves to stun her opponents for free shots. She's actually the best CC character in the game, giving her excellent control of the fight. She also has a brutal Ultra Cyclone attack that does a ton of damage. Next we bring Metal Hero into the fight with Space Sheriff Gavin. He has high damage melee combos with his fists, plus attacks with his laser blade. This allows him to excel at close and mid range, but he's not quite as effective at long range. He is, however, one of the best defensive characters in the game, due to his energy parry that allows him to negate attacks and reflect them back on his opponent. A good Gavin player might be frustrating to deal with. Next we have Just Beyond, who's brutal up close with his Plasma Blazer Sword. He can also parry to negate attacks, but he doesn't have the ability to reflect them back like Gavin. He does have highly effective leaping attacks, and he can become a ball of light and fly through the opponent dealing damage. Next up we have Metalder, a character that deals high damage with some of the most powerful special moves in the game, including his Laser Arm, Metal Tornado, and Plasma Punch. He would also have the ability to taunt in order to regenerate his health over time. Next up we have Bluebeat from Juko B-Fighter. He uses his Stinger Blade weapon in his base combos, which are some of the highest damage in the game, but slower to compensate. After filling up a meter, he can turn into Super Bluebeat, and this gives him high levels of damage resistance and a new projectile attack. Next up, let's look at some guest characters. First is Kikaider, and he would be a great combination of speed and strength. He would be able to cover more range with his forward and backward dashes, and his special moves would revolve around energy attacks that could hit from range or up close. He's one of the most well-rounded characters in the game. He also has a unique parry that when activated absorbs the enemy's attack and uses it to heal Kikaider instead of damaging him. Next up is Hikaider. He's slower, but he uses a single shot grenade launcher that deals tons of damage from across the screen. He also has a special move that allows him to ignore damage temporarily and walk straight through it towards his opponent. Next we have GARO. His base combos use his sword, which has long reach, allowing him the ability to start combos from further away than most characters. He's extremely tanky and good at dashing, and he can use magic abilities to reflect damage back at the opponent. He can also call in his Warhorse from off-screen for an explosive rush attack. Next we have Toei's Spider-Man. He can use spider string and spider net attacks to swing towards the opponent or web them up. He also has acrobatic leaping attacks where he'll leap forward to start a combo or even leap backwards to avoid damage. He can also taunt to gain increased damage. Now we get into boss characters. These are overpowered characters that have to be unlocked. First up we have Zenkaiger, who can transform into any of the rangers on the roster. He can also attack with his geared linger, and he has two taunts, one for outgoing damage and one for damage resistance. Next we have Oma Gio from Kamen Rider Gio. He can transform into any of the other riders on the roster, and he has the ability to summon them to his side temporarily. This ability would be on a meter for balance. He can also manipulate time, moving you backwards to where you were on the screen previously. It's pretty hard to not make him overpowered, so he's the hardest character in the game to unlock. Next we have Kamen Rider Decade, who of course can summon into all riders, and when he fills a meter he can summon them to his side temporarily. He can also use his Ride Buster for range or close range attacks in his base form. Finally, we have the man himself, Captain Marvelous, as our final boss character. Unlike Luca, Captain Marvelous would be able to henshin into every ranger on the roster. Unlike the other boss characters though, it wouldn't even be on a meter. In fact, he has combos that end with a transformation attack, meaning he'll start a combo as Captain Marvelous, and he can finish that combo as Shinken Red with the Eureka Daizanto attack. This gives him limitless possibilities. He can also taunt for health regeneration, and use dual pistols or dual swords for ranged and melee attacks respectively. I think I might have made him just a little bit overpowered, but let me know what you think. Which characters would you love to see in my Toku game? Who would you add and who would you remove from the roster? I didn't add any Ultras or Kaiju because I figured they would just step on these guys. But if you want to see a video like this based around Ultras and Kaiju, let me know in the comments. If you're new here, be sure to henshin into a subscriber by hitting that subscribe button. If you enjoyed the video, it would mean a lot if you smacked the shit out of that like button. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.